We're here at the 15th Annual Asian Film Festival of Dallas, and Frankie, I guess I'll let you introduce yourself and your film. Tell us a bit about yourself and the film.
Hi, so my name's Francisco Aguilar. I'm the producer, director, and a few other things of a documentary, Korean Fried Chicken, that I filmed in Seoul, South Korea last summer, and the film Korean Fried Chicken is premiering here at the Asian Film Festival of Dallas in the Best Documentary Short category, and I'm very excited to be here. Thank you.
Perfect. Well, I've got to ask then, how did you find out about this opportunity to go to Seoul? Like, when did all this kind of come about? Because you're in Ithaca. I mean, how did this kind of
so I'm a Ithaca college student. I'm a senior now. And during my junior year, I have one of my friends is a film student. He's an Italian citizen. And he was telling me over the summer about how he was going to be doing this action thesis film in Italy, because he's from Italy. And he was just telling me all about it. And I knew I wanted to be out there, so I had the opportunity to go out there and to be shooting on location with professional actors and professional gear out on a student level. It was truly an amazing experience to experience that. And once I had that experience of being abroad, I caught like the bug. It was an amazing experience, and I knew I wanted to do it again. So I came back from that experience, and I was doing my spring semester. And I was taking a film class, and one of my professors, Professor Chang, he actually went to Hanyang University. That's where we stayed out in Seoul. And he kind of mentioned to me about the summer program where you go to Seoul, take one of our classes that I needed to take, and you could experience abroad. And once he told me about the opportunity to go abroad after I just went to Italy, I wanted to jump on that opportunity as soon as I could, because to immerse yourself in another culture, to make another film in another country again, that's something that I did not want to miss the opportunity on.
And tell us a bit about your background. I mean, you're Cuban American. I mean, you've got your own food love, if you look at it that way. But was it fun to, like you said, I mean, Italian now, Korean, must be fun just to go through the food lelevels of the different countries.
So I won't lie, I had the world's best pizza in Italy. They had the plaque on the wall and everything, so it's very official. I ate there maybe 6 times a day, but the food in Italy is just, it's so fresh, I can't, it's to go out there and experience the food. It's something that I would want to, it's something I'm definitely going to try and do once again, to go out there and experience that food. In Korea, the culture is a lot different than it is in the United States, which that took a little bit of getting used to. The language barrier was easily the hardest thing to experience in Korea, just not speaking the language. But being a Cuban American, it's both my parents were born in Cuba. They fled the country because it's not a good situation there at the time. And to even now recently see what's happening there now as a Cuban American, like, I really would like the opportunity to go out there and see my homeland and kind of document the whole experience, what is happening there, because it is so new, and the culture there it's very Cuban food, just like as you were saying, it's very it's distinctive, it's very good, and I would definitely would want to try and to go out there. I know relations are kind of hectic right now, especially me being a Cuban American, and but the food, it was really cool to experience the food of Italy and Korea.
So, looking at the documentary, how did you meet, the families and people in the film? How did those interactions start and come about?
So, just like the filmmaking process, I would say it's a family environment. If you're gonna, I see a poster right there for Tarzan, for the Legend of Tarzan, and if you're gonna go try to make a movie like that by yourself, good luck, because I don't think it's gonna happen. The filmmaking process, it's you need like a family, you need your crew, and that's something. When I went out to Korea, I went there alone. Didn't know anyone who was going. I really wanted to go there to experience the culture and to go abroad again. And once I got out there, I met the international students I was with, and not all of them were film students, but just to get with them, and we were trying to figure out what we wanted to really do. And once we figured out what our mission was for our film, it was just going out there and talking to the people of Korea, which it's really, the people are the best part, because without the help of without the help of generous people, the filmmaking process wouldn't it just couldn't be done. So we would go just to different fried chicken restaurants and just talk to the owners, and the film, it definitely talks about the struggles of running a fried chicken joint and unemployment and stuff like that. So I knew it was a touchy subject, so I want to work with them as much as they want to work with me, in the sense that they're doing me the favor, so I have to extend the greatest gratitude towards them for allowing me into their life. So without the help of other people, and just it's great just to be able. I remember being in Italy in the Milan train station, and I don't speak Italian, I don't speak Korean, and it's just you going up to someone new and saying, hey, can you help me out? Or it wasn't even that, just because I remember being in the Milan train station, and I had maybe I couldn't see the look on my face, but the other people could, because they came up to me and they're like, oh, like, where are you trying to go? And it's that little the extending the hand that is what kind of I think the filmmaking process is about, because without the help of others, you couldn't get the job done.
You filmed this in under 25 days, if I'm not mistaken?
So yeah, I was out in Korea for 1 month, and the program lasted about 24 days of the actual film program, and we conceived the idea, shot it, and edited the whole thing in 24 days actually, and that was a little bit of a challenge, just because we knew we had the time frame, but it's just you want to get as much done as you can, and you want to make the film as best as you can, but you have that deadline. And I remember, my Professor Chang, he says, like, when you have a screening set, you have to deliver, because people are going to come see your film, and it's very important that when you say that my film's going to screen, that you're going to screen the film. And that timeline, it put a little bit of a strain on us, sleeping wise, and not maybe getting able to experience Korea as much as we wanted to, because I knew that I was only there for the finite amount of time, and I wanted to experience as much as Korea as I wanted to, but at the same time I knew this film was important to me, and I wanted to make it as well as I could. So it was a little bit of a balance, fighting that as well as fighting the sleep battle, because as we began to shoot more, and the time crunch began to increase, our biggest struggle was translation, because like I said before, I don't speak Korean, and just that process was definitely difficult, but to get it all done in 24 days, I'm looking back at it now, and I am really happy and just almost like shocked that we were able to do it, because it's a short amount of time, but I'm really happy with the product, and I hope I can have the opportunity to go out to Korea one more time, or more times if I can, and just experience the culture more, and not more of a tourist and less of a filmmaker, I would say, maybe.
Well, the fact that you were picked in the documentary category, not a student category, even though this very much was a student experience, a student abroad experience, that must mean a lot to you. I mean, it showcases how much work was put in this film, but how good this film really is. I mean, you're not competing, but you're in a category with legit documentary shorts that didn't have these stipulations. It didn't have student backing and being in a foreign country. I mean, you made a hell of a movie.
Yeah, definitely. Being in Korea, it was a tremendous experience, because my time at Ithaca College is a little bit of it had its up and downs. I actually originally went to Ithaca as a football player, and I was a business major, and I had a great time being on the football team, but I knew that I wasn't going to go play for the New York Jets. So after my freshman year, I decided to quit the football team, because I needed to focus on my grades. And once I did that small step of quitting the football team, it kind of my next fall semester, I knew my grades weren't as well as I thought I would be with quitting the football team, having more time on my hand. But at that time, I knew that the business major wasn't exactly what I wanted to do with my life, and I knew I wanted a change. And that next semester, that's when I started taking film classes, and it was a great experience to be able to take those film classes. And this doc kind of, originally we had the idea of failure and success because it was my idea just because I saw myself as failure and success, because when you typically say the word failure, you might think, oh, like negativity, bad image, but people don't maybe. I was trying to, with that idea of failure and success, show that failure is very important, and you need to fail to succeed in life. You're not going to grow up just to be president. It's not a straight shoot. You're going to have failures in your life, and that failure of me not succeeding in business, it led me to another stage in my life and where I wanted to go, and it was really important, only because when I went to Korea, I was still applying into the film program, and my GPA was, I was really improving. I was doing really well as a film student, but my QM GPA just really wasn't there. And then when I went to Korea, I came back and I officially applied to the film program, and I was taking film classes, but I was still a business major. So the film administration were kind of like, who is this kid? Like, and they knew who I was. Like, they knew I went to Italy. Like, and I've up to this point, I've made 29. I've been a part of 29 student projects at Ithaca College, and I like to immerse myself. And they knew They knew who I was because I'm a passionate person. And when I came back, it was my third semester of taking film classes. I applied to the film program. The dean told me it was going to be a 10-day process, and I heard back within 20 minutes that I got rejected. And it's something that I wasn't too surprised about, because me and the dean had a history. Even though my GPA, those last 3 semesters, I was averaging a 3.4, and I greatly improved my QM, but I was still just very close from what they wanted. But once I came back from Korea, I realized that I didn't really need the recognition from them to say, oh, you're a filmmaker, because I recently went to Italy. I just came back from Korea, and coming back from Korea, I was the director of the film. I was in charge, and to do that, it was a really good experience, because I knew in my heart that I was the filmmaker. And so when I came back, I eventually switched to one of my faculty professors. He mentioned to me the Planned Studies program, which is the Build Your Own Major program at Ithaca College. So eventually I switched to a Planned Studies major in film producing, production, and studies. And I'm graduating this December. I'm going to be taking my final semester in Ithaca College has a satellite campus in Los Angeles, which I'll be taking an internship there in 2 classes. And when going back off what you said, before I had the opportunity to go to Korea, I was taking a class called Cinema Production 2, and I was directing my second time directing. And I won't lie, the experience was absolutely horrible. I went through a lot of struggles. I could go into a detail of what happened, but I'll spare you the details. But going off that experience, when I went to Korea, I knew exactly what I didn't need to do, and more of what I needed to do, and more I needed to get out of other people, and what it required as me as a director. So going to Korea, I had this whole new mindset, and it just when I first got there, it felt amazing to be in Korea and just making the film. It was a really amazing experience, and to be able to be accepted into the Asian Film Festival of Dallas, like you said, not in the student category, it really meant a lot to me.
I've got to ask then, since you had that bad experience, you've had that failures before, right before going. Was there a moment when you were in Korea where it just clicked and you knew, okay, I can finish this, I can do this, I know it's short time, but this is how it should be going. It's working.
Oh yeah, definitely. So in Korea, I was taking only 1 class, and you could take up to 3 classes. They recommended only taking 2 classes because each class was about 3 hours. So taking 9 hours of classes a day is that's a little too much for me, at least. And so I only took the 1 documentary class, and classes were only Monday through Thursday, and then I'm not sure if you know, but South Korea is the #1 drinking country in the world, and I went there when I was 21, so it was a great time. But definitely, just meeting with some of the international students, we had a good time there. And then as as the days and the weeks started to progress, I realized that I had to limit myself, from being a tourist and just being in Korea, and say, hey, like this is my film. And it wasn't too much of a challenge, because I knew this film was important to me. And even though at the time I couldn't imagine myself sitting in this chair at the Asian Film Festival in Dallas then, but I'm a passionate filmmaker, and I knew after that past experience I wanted to make it right, and to take control, to be in the lead. It felt good to have people, some of the other student filmmakers I was with, or some of the other students I worked with, weren't actual film students. I was paired with some just international students that were business majors, marketing majors, among others, and just to have them know that I was a film major, and to have them ask on me for what to do, and just because I had some more experience. I just came from Italy, and I was shooting on in Italy. We were shooting on Red cameras. We had a professional Italian actors. We had an actor from Spider-Man 2. We had a pyrotechnic team. We had a stunt team. So being in doing all that, it kind of showed me the next level of filmmaking. So when I went to Korea, even though I was I was in a foreign country, there was a language barrier. I wasn't shutting down roads like we were in Italy, but I knew what I needed to do, and it felt great that I had the support, even though if they weren't film students, they were ready to help me out and be the support that I needed.
Wow. It's interesting to go from that big experience to more the guerrilla style student style.
Oh yeah, it was definitely run and gun guerrilla style filmmaking, because we got to Seoul, and Seoul's it's a very, 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 very large city, and they have a great public transportation system. And I know just myself, before stuff started getting too hectic, my class started at 1:30, and I found this website, 50 Things to Do in Seoul, and I would just try and go down the list before my class would start. So I was able to experience some of the different parts of the city, and that was really great, because I knew there's a restaurant here, there's a restaurant here of chicken, because once we decided that we wanted to do fried chicken restaurants, we had to get as many fried chicken restaurants as we could, which kind of made my diet kind of strictly fried chicken. But I'm not gonna. It was not saying it wasn't healthy, but it was very tasty. But just being in Korea was a great experience.
A lot of drinking, a lot of chicken.
Yeah, so in the doc, I go into how during the World Cup, that's how in South Korea the craze, as they call it, kind of rose, because South Korea was doing really well. I think it was the 2002 World Cup.
And they split the.
Yeah, and that's everyone was kind of they kind of jumped with the nation, and it just kind of from that event, fried chicken. It's I wouldn't say it's the staple of the Korean diet. Definitely kimchi is. I don't know if you have never tried kimchi. Yeah. It's they serve it with everything there, and it's really great. But it became almost a staple, in the sporting event, fried chicken and beer, because their fried chicken is a little bit different than just the normal fried chicken here in America. They double fry it, and they have a very each restaurant has their own little recipe, but it's the culture and the chicken. It's just a little bit different out there, and it's some of the best chicken I've ever had in my life.
You had such a late switch while you already made it to Ithaca for sports, and then you're switching to film. I'm kind of curious, why film? What made you passionate about film? What filmmakers did you like growing up? I mean, what made you get into this?
So I definitely, as a kid, I was always I I wasn't the best student where, I was dominated by like video games, like, maybe a lot of millennials probably would say nowadays. But movies and video games, I just always was drawn to a story. And I kind of definitely, even just the story of sports, there's like, you watch the game, there's a story right there, what's going on with that story. And like, there's something about a story that really just ties me in. And I grew up, just always playing video games and watching a lot of movies. And I remember I'm from New Jersey, and I moved like 3 times within my hometown. And my first house, I remember, it was a pretty big house before one of my parents lost their jobs. But I remember in our basement, we used to have like all these movie posters, and I kind of didn't even realize, like, subconsciously, like how big of an impact like film was on my childhood. Like, I just had all these, like, just like subconscious, like we had like maybe 100 movie posters in my basement. Like, film was a very big part of my life. And then, so growing up, I eventually enrolled in Ithaca College, and I played football there. And once I realized that the business major wasn't exactly what I wanted to do in the future, I definitely had like the drive to do something with cinema, because I knew about the Park School of Communications. And I even when I was looking at Ithaca, I kind of was like, oh, maybe that would be kind of cool to do that. But I applied to the School of Business because my parents thought it would be a good idea. And I applied to the accounting program, which luckily I didn't get into that one, but I got into the business administration program. And I tried it out, and I was doing it, and it's just, I didn't really have the drive to do what it required. And that's something that, like, in Korea, that drive, the want, the need and the want to do something, like, when you're in Korea, it's pretty easy just to get drunk and eat some fried chicken, but at the same time you got to make a film. And so when I was in Ithaca, and I wasn't doing as well, not that I was doing pretty much what I was actually used to, because not to disrespect any football players and the intelligence at all, but I was a jock in high school, and that's what kind of got me into Ithaca College. So I didn't have the greatest grades, and once I got to Ithaca, it was the same thing. I was on the football team. My grades weren't super, and then once I quit the football team, I still was a business major, and it just it kind of was almost, I'd rather be on the football team than not be a business major, because that's something that, football was something I've done since I was 3 years old, and it's something that's a big part of my life. But I knew that it's something that I had to stop, because my grades they weren't what they needed to be going forward. So once I was able to quit the football team, which was a big step for me, it took me a lot of time to think about it, and to actually come to the realization that, like, it's not that I could do it, but it's okay to do it. Maybe, I don't know why I maybe thought, like, oh, like, this is something I have to do. But once I was able to make that decision, I started taking film classes. And one of my football friends at Ithaca College, he was a film major, and that spring semester when I started taking my first film classes, I was talking to him about I want to do film and stuff like that, and he invited me on his film set for his film, and that was my first ever film set I was on. And right then I knew I had the bug. I would like to be in that environment of, like, it was film, like, on a film set. It's high intensity, like, a lot of stuff's going on. But, like, the second I got there, like, I told my friend, I was like, hey, like, you just help on set. Like, I just want to watch. And he was like, oh yeah, no problem. So, like, I wasn't really even gonna be doing anything, just kind of like looking and watching, because I wanted to see if it's something I wanted to do. And right away, I kind of went from watching to I was second camera assistant. And we were working with the Sony F3. We had a steady cam, so, like, it was, even though it was like my first film set, we had, like, all this, like, amazing equipment, and, like, I was like, this is amazing. And so once I caught the bug there, I was that semester, it was my first semester taking film classes, and I was academically doing very, very well, and I was doing much better than I was before. So as a student, that felt great to finally find I had a passion for the stuff I was studying. And once I was on that film set, I knew I had the bug, and it was just from there, the rest is history, I guess.
Wow. Do you mind if I ask what you filmed on while in Korea? What equipment they had out there?
So actually, we had with the school they brought a Sony EA50, which is it's not the best camera. Which I brought. I'm a photographer as well as a filmmaker, so I love taking photography. And I have a Canon 6D, and I brought that over there, and we actually filmed the whole thing on my 6D because it's a little bit better than what we had from the school. I'm really happy if the college was able to give us all the equipment we used, and we used it a lot for the B camera and just some other side stuff. But our main camera was just my photography camera that I have a Magic Lantern. Maybe I shouldn't say that, but we were shooting it on there, and it was just to shoot on a DSLR. That was my first time ever doing that, and that was a different experience. Shooting from your traditional. Even though I would say no one shoots on film anymore, which we should, but a traditional film camera is going to be really big. Even though the digital cameras keep getting smaller and smaller, but I was shooting on something that you could fit on your hand. So that was it was a different experience. But shooting on my 6D, it was a great experience.
Knowing that the edit had to be so quick, how did you approach the editing? It must have been. You must have just been cutting a lot more than you would have liked to.
So one of the scariest things I have to say is shooting an interview, and I would I wrote all the questions, and I would set up the camera, and then I would have my translator ask the questions because I don't speak Korean. And then there was something very scary about filming an interview and not knowing A, what was said, B, if it was a good interview, C, if you could use it. I would just so we would start filming these interviews one by one, and I maybe had 5 interviews, and say we had 2 weeks left, and we had all our interviews done, which we didn't have that much time anyway once we had our interviews done. But we have all these interviews, and we had no idea what was really said. So that was a little bit of a scary situation to be in, filming all these interviews and getting all this footage and not knowing what you really have. So that was a little bit scary. But working with the translator, it was a challenging. I know it was challenging for her because she was the only one that had to do it. But she was a trooper, and Na-young Kim, I remember you. You did a great job, and it was just it was challenging, but at the same time, you gotta take it one day at a time. And then as we finally we're coming to the end of it. We had maybe a week left. We had to start. We had to switch from the shooting phase to the editing phase, just because we knew the whole process was going to be expedited, just because we were only there for 24 days. But once it was definitely a different experience, not knowing whether you had an interview you could use or not after filming it.
And waiting for the transcription. That's crazy.
Yeah. It was challenging. Yeah.
So I've got to ask, since you said that you Googled the 50 things to do in Korea, this is your first time in Dallas, first time in Texas.
I did the same thing.
Tell me what you've found in our city, and tell us what you're going to try and experience.
Yeah, so this is my third day here, and first time in Texas, first time in Dallas. I'm super excited to be here to experience this, the city and the film festival. Today, actually, I got to go out to the JFK Museum and the Reunion Tower, and it was a great experience. The JFK Museum was very informative, very educational, and very interesting because way before my time. But I've seen what all the controversy and all the theories that are around it, and to just to be there to actually see the window where they say he was, and just to see even though all the theories and everything, because what really happened? It's hard to say, even though I was at the museum and I just experienced it, but because that was a very interesting experience. I'm looking to I'm here for the rest of the week. I'm looking to go to the botanical garden. I'm looking to go to the art district. There's a bunch of more stuff within Dallas, and I'm hoping to try to do as well, see as many as the films I can. But Dallas is it's a very dog-friendly city, which I've kind of noticed, which is kind of cool. I've never experienced a city where I've seen so many dogs, and it's really cool. Just it's a very friendly city, and I enjoy it so far.
Any food ideas that you want to definitely try? I mean,
so my girlfriend was telling me about Tex-Mex. I definitely got to try the Tex-Mex. Everyone's telling me about the tacos. I have to get some tacos and just some barbecue, which some authentic Texas barbecue, I guess.
well, so that we can find out more information about you, tell us a little bit about where we can find out about Korean Fried Chicken social media wise, and also you're on Instagram kind of filming this whole experience for us.
Oh yeah, definitely. So I have just a personal Facebook at Francisco Aguilar. My email is frankiej73@gmail.com. And just for any information about the film. Once now that the film has premiered here at the Asian Film Festival of Dallas, I'm going to be looking more to show it publicly, like on social media and stuff like that. There's still a few more festivals I'm waiting to hear back from, so hopefully I could get maybe some good, a little bit more good news. But yeah, I'm on Facebook at Francisco Aguilar, Instagram at Francisco Aguilar Photo. And my Instagram account is definitely, I'm trying to get Instagram famous. I've been able to go to Italy. I've been able to go to Korea. I go to school in upstate New York. They have some really good scenery, some beautiful views, and I just try and capture. I'm here in Dallas. I got some great views at the Union Tower. I'm definitely going to be uploading one of those soon. And it's just I like to just document my experience and show a little bit about I get to show the poster for my film. I'm going to be uploading more little snippets of the film and just more things about what I'm doing like here in Dallas and me as a filmmaker.
Did you bring your Canon too?
Oh yeah, I brought my Canon 6. I'm trying to get maybe a few more lenses. I still have just the traditional 24-105. It only stops down to a 4.0. All the real DSLR guys will know that it's not too good, but it gets the job done. And I'm not about a lot of people on Instagram and just normal photography. They like to do a lot of Photoshop. I just try and take a natural photo and just document my experience. And I was trying to get up to 1,000 followers on Instagram before I left, and I'm just about at 700. And it's really, I've been trying to focus a little bit more on that because Instagram's very visual, and I'm a filmmaker, so it kind of works hand in hand. And it's been I've really been loving the feedback I'm getting from on Instagram. In the last month, I've almost doubled my followers. A couple of my photos have over 500 likes on them now, so I've been really liking it.
Very cool. Well, folks can still catch Korean Fried Chicken. It plays, I believe, on Monday.
Monday.
Here at the Asian Film Festival of Dallas. And Frankie, thank you for the time, buddy.
Well, thank you.